In this video, I'm going to be looking at custom states, making states beyond the regular hover and toggle within a component. So navigate to the custom state section of the start file, and we'll have a look at making a custom state. And in this instance, the custom state that we make in our component is going to allow us to create a drop-down menu. I'm going to start, before we get started, I've created the artwork that we require. I'm going to make the drop-down menu out of this hamburger icon, turn that into a component in a second, and we're going to use this menu graphics that I've created as our drop-down. And then when we've built it, we'll implement it on this final page and see it working. So let's get started. We can select our hamburger and go up to Object and make that a component, or hit Command K. And if we're in the Design tab, we'll see that it's changed to a kind of a green, the usual component color. We'll rename it. I'm going to call it drop-down menu. And first thing we'll do is we'll come over with it selected and add a state, and we'll add a new state, and I'm going to call it the drop-down state. Don't need to call it drop-down state, that'll do. Great, and with the state selected, I'm going to come over and grab all of my artwork here for the drop-down, copy that, and with it selected now in the drop-down state, I'm going to paste it. Go into it and paste it into that position. Alright, so that's good. We've got our normal state, and now we've got our artwork in the drop-down state. Just got to go in there and remove the hamburger and replace it with the close button. Great. So you can see that with the default state selected, we've just got a little hamburger, and then with the drop-down state selected, we've got a little, we've got our whole drop-down there. So let's go ahead and take that a little bit further by prototyping it or wiring it up and giving it an action, and our trigger is going to be a tap. Alright, and we're going to just transition quickly to our end state, and our destination is not going to be an artboard this time, it's going to be our drop-down state. So let's select our drop-down state and dissolve it really quickly over 0.4 of a second. Alright, so let's play it, see what happens. We'll tap, and there's our icon. Next thing we need to do is wire up the close button. So we'll start with, we'll just look at it again, tap that, and it opens up our menu. But we need to go into our component, into the drop-down state, go in there and select our close button, go back over to the prototype tab, add in another trigger, another tap trigger, transitioning, and we're going to go back to the default state there. Alright, let's test that now. Great, toggles on and off. which is perfect. So now we've got this quite versatile and reusable kind of menu that we can add to our design around the place. And so if I grab that drop down menu from the components list and just quickly position it, there, looks good. We can test our full page here, and we've got a nice menu in position, which is good in our page. We will have to stop it scrolling, which is easy to do. We can come over to our component and in prototype, just make sure we fix the position when scrolling. We know how to do that. Test it again. Looking good. Also want to make sure that our scrolling elements are in the background there. So I'm going to move all of this stuff to the front. Finally test it one more time. Everything scrolls in the background, which is cool. And our menu opens up. We can make a selection, or we can close the menu. Awesome. So that is making or utilizing custom states. And in this instance, we made a little drop-down menu with it.